For coming today. Thank my brother Chris Bronson and Antoine. That song, literally, you don't know, although we recorded that song together, that song actually kept us through many hard times, flying down the road and everything. So that's why we wanted that song for today, because it spoke to us personally. So I'm gonna let Cheryl talk for a little while. I'm gonna give y'all a testimony out there.
I'm really lost for words. This day is very special to me, my husband. I thank all of you for coming out and just taking out the time to show your support, your love. We really just dedicate this whole orchestration to God. He's the reason why we're standing here today. He's the reason why there's new life. And if it had not been for God who was on our side, I don't know where we would be. But all I can say is it will work out for our good. It has worked out for our good. And we just want to be encouragement to you. Even though, yes, this is our day per se, but every day we just want to be encouragement to others that God will do what He said He's going to do. He will do what He promises. And if we just stand on His word, all things are going to work out for our good and for your good. And so this has been a journey for us up to this point. I'm going to try to hold back, but this has really been a journey because many people don't see us behind closed doors. And I'm sure there's other people who can give a testimony and who said that they've been through hard times and hard trials too. And this is one of the reasons why we stand here today, not just to have a good time, but we celebrate God. We celebrate God, and we just want to let others know also, hey, it doesn't matter what you're going through, it doesn't matter how hard the trial is. But me and my husband went through. It's so funny how you plan to do things in life. You plan how everything is going to go, and it don't work out that way. It never works out. It never works out that way most times. But through it all, God reminded us every step of the way that He was with us, and that He was going to bring about the blessing. He was going to bring peace in the midst of the storm. And we had gone through some loss back in, I think my husband wants to tell it, but back in 2015, I'll let him expound.
Yeah, in other words, I know how to tell the story. Okay, so everybody knows back in 2014, we got married in March. So back in 2015, I think it was January, February. Matter of fact, we was on tour with you, and we went down to Destin, Florida. Yes, sir. And the room was nice. We couldn't help it. So you know what I'm talking about. So we found out that she was pregnant when we got back from that, and the doctor's appointment, everything went good for the first few appointments, stuff like that. And I think it was April, I think we went for a checkup. And the checkup went good, and probably about 2 days after that, we got a call from, what's the lady? Yeah, just from a doctor. And basically they was telling us that the baby had an abnormality, I think that's what you call it. And basically they told us that we would have to abort the baby or it would abort itself. So in the midst of that, we were confused because we expected to, like she said, have a baby, everything be okay. So that was a very difficult time in our life, but of course we chose to keep the baby and keep going. And I remember the morning, it was in May, I think it was May the 7th, yeah. And I remember that morning, I was sleeping in the bed, Cheryl was at work, and I remember having a dream, and I was laying in the bed, and I seen something it was like a lion came in the room. I don't know if y'all know about like how they have in the Chinese parades, like big head lions going from side to side, but I seen that come in the room, and it looked at me, and it just all of a sudden opened its mouth, and it just roared so loud to the point where it shook my whole body. It shook my whole body to the point where I woke up. As soon as I woke up, I looked at my phone, and Sherry was calling me as soon as I woke up, and she called me crying. And anybody who knows that's married, if your wife called you crying, something wrong. So she called me, and it had happened at work, basically. Miscarriage happened at work. We didn't know what was going on. So it happened, you know, we went to the doctor and, you know, got all of that situated. Like I said, it was a very hard time for us because we didn't expect miscarriage. Anybody who's been through that, like, that is very hard. And during that time, we didn't necessarily lose faith, but we always wondered why. Because not only with that, I was hurting, but she was hurting too. And, you know, I had to be mama for her, I had to be daddy for her, I had to be brother, sister, friend, all the while I was hurting. And, you know, that was a very difficult time. So, you know, we got through that. And the same year, we waited a few months, and she got pregnant again. And so we was a little reluctant this time of, you know, telling everybody. And so in December, well, matter of fact, it was November, we went to the doctor, and the doctor basically said the same exact thing again. So we was wondering what was going on. And there was no heartbeat at all. And so December, me and my wife, we were, you know, upstairs, and she miscarried there. Matter of fact, she miscarried to the point where we seen the body. It was like that big. And so we sat there and just looked. I mean, we really didn't understand what was going on. And, you know, during that time, it was just so hard. So this year, fast forward to this year, we decided to do it again. And I know many of you wonder probably why we didn't advertise that, you know, she was pregnant, because we really wanted to only hear from God. And, you know, keep the faith, because I know some people were saying, you know, you need to go get checked. And we knew what God was telling us. And so we also remember back in November 2016, a guy prophesied to us like most all prophets do for some odd reason. They prophesied to us, and when they got done, we went to go sit down, but they told us to come back. And they asked us, what is something that you all really want in life? And of course, above music, above career, above anything else, we always desire family. That's the only thing we desire is family. And so we told him, and he basically told us to go home that night and worship. And that's what God was going to do for us in that moment. And so that night we went home, we prayed together, we worshiped, and then after that we did some more worshiping. You know, faith without works is dead. So yeah, we did that. Yeah, so we did that. And so we did that, and you know, we're here now, and you know, for the last consecutive nights, like for the last 7 months, God told me to pray Ephesians 3:20 over her stomach every single night. And that's what we've been doing every single night. And so I basically want to just tell y'all that God is good, and God is a healer. And you know, one thing people really don't know about us is, you know, we go through so much. Being guilty, one thing I am learning is being guilty, you go through a lot of stuff. People will never see it. You go through a lot of stuff. In that time, we seen so many other people having babies and all that. We just wondered about us. You know, we encourage people, hundreds, thousands of people, but we always wondered about us. So we're here today, and we don't want to make this a sad occasion because it's a joyous occasion. And we're happy for what